Officer Davis believed, without a doubt, that he was the law. His badge, his uniform, and the authority they granted him weren't just symbols of power. They were part of him, ingrained in his very being like a second skin. Over the years, he had grown comfortable, too comfortable, with wielding that authority however he saw fit. It gave him an undeniable sense of control, one he exercised freely, often at the expense of those who didn't fit within his own narrow standards of who belonged. Rarely had he been questioned, and even less often had he been challenged. But on this seemingly uneventful, bright afternoon, that was about to change. His carefully constructed illusion of dominance was on the verge of being shattered forever. Where are you watching this from today? Let us know in the comments below. The sun blazed mercilessly, its heat radiating off the asphalt as Davis patrolled the parking lot. His assignment for the day was mundane, nothing out of the ordinary. Yet, despite the routine nature of his duties, his eyes were always scanning, always searching, for someone to remind of his authority. He thrived on these encounters, finding satisfaction in making an example out of those who dared to step out of line, even if that line only existed in his mind. Then he saw it. A sleek, black SUV glided into a prime parking spot near the entrance. The vehicle was polished, expensive-looking, and exuded an air of importance. The door swung open, and from within emerged a tall, poised woman dressed in an impeccably tailored navy pantsuit. Danielle Harper. Everything about her demanded attention, not in a loud or ostentatious way, but through sheer presence alone. Her posture was upright, her stride purposeful, and the way she carried herself, with effortless grace and confidence, left no doubt that she was a woman of importance. In one hand, she held a leather briefcase, while the other remained relaxed to her side. There was an unspoken authority in her demeanor, a quiet yet undeniable strength. She looked like someone on a mission, someone who belonged exactly where she was. Davis's eyes narrowed. He didn't like what he saw. Not because she had done anything wrong. No, it wasn't about that. It was something else, something deeper, something that irritated him. Maybe it was her unwavering confidence, the way she moved as if she had nothing to fear, as if the world itself couldn't shake her. Maybe it was the fact that she didn't glance around nervously, didn't hesitate for even a moment. She was calm, unbothered, unafraid, and that didn't sit well with Davis. A decision snapped into place within him in an instant. She needs to be reminded who's in charge. Tightening his belt and squaring his shoulders, he strode toward her, his boots striking against the pavement with sharp, deliberate clicks. Authority. That's what each step carried. Ma'am. His voice was firm, commanding, leaving no room for argument. Danielle, mid-step, came to a halt. With practiced ease, she turned to face him, her expression composed, her eyes filled with quiet curiosity rather than concern. Yes, she replied smoothly, her voice level and unreadable. Davis pointed at her vehicle, his posture stiff with control. This is a restricted parking area, he stated, his tone clipped and firm. You can't park here. I need to see your ID and vehicle registration now. Danielle's brows knitted together slightly as she took a measured glance around the parking lot. Her gaze swept the area, searching for any sign, any marking that would indicate the restriction he was referring to. Nothing. No signs. No barriers. No reserved markings. Restricted, she echoed, her tone polite yet steady, her words carefully chosen. I don't see any signage that designates this as a restricted area. That response, it irked Davis. He wasn't accustomed to being questioned, especially not in such an even, unshaken manner. He expected hesitation, compliance, obedience. But this woman? She was composed, firm. Too firm. Don't argue with me, Davis snapped, irritation creeping into his voice. I said it's restricted, and that's all you need to know. Either show me your ID, now, or I'll have your car towed. Danielle remained unfazed. She tilted her head slightly, studying him, her eyes filled with something Davis couldn't quite place. It wasn't fear. It wasn't defiance. It was assurance. It was strength. And for the first time, Davis felt something unexpected, unsteady. I'm parked legally, she stated, her voice measured but unwavering. I haven't violated any rules, so I have to ask, why exactly are you requesting my ID? A flicker of frustration flashed across Davis's face, his jaw tightening. Because I said so, he barked, his tone rising, his control slipping. Stop wasting my time and hand it over now. Unbeknownst to him, people had started to take notice. A small crowd had begun to form. Some passers-by lingered nearby, pretending to check their phones, their ears tuned into the escalating tension. Others were less subtle, openly watching the scene unfold. A few had even pulled out their cameras, recording the encounter, their lenses capturing every moment, every word, every reaction. Davis, so absorbed in his need to reassert his authority, hadn't realized it yet. But this wasn't just an exchange anymore. It was an event. And soon it would be something much more. Something he would never be able to take back. The cameras continued rolling, capturing every tense second of the confrontation. Danielle let out a slow, measured sigh, the kind one makes when dealing with a trivial inconvenience rather than a real challenge. All right, she said, her voice steady as she reached into her jacket pocket. Davis tensed immediately. His hand instinctively hovered near his holster, his pulse hammering in his ears. Was she about to pull a weapon? His mind raced, his grip tightening in preparation. But what she withdrew wasn't a weapon, it was a sleek leather badge holder. With a calm, deliberate motion, she flipped it open, revealing an unmistakable golden emblem. The moment that FBI insignia gleamed in the sunlight, the air in the parking lot shifted. My name is Special Agent Danielle Harper, she stated firmly, her voice carrying an undeniable weight. Authority radiated from her in a way that silenced even the hushed murmurs of the gathering onlookers. And you, she continued, locking eyes with Davis, have just made a very serious mistake. For a brief second, Davis remained frozen, his brain struggling to catch up with what he was seeing. His eyes darted from the badge to her face and back again, disbelief painted across his expression. As Special Agent, he stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. Yes, Danielle confirmed, her gaze unwavering. And I strongly suggest you think very carefully about your next move, officer. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder. Wait, is she FBI? Someone whispered in disbelief. Oh, he's in trouble now, another voice murmured, as more phones were lifted, recording every unfolding second. Davis felt heat rush to his face, the authority he had so confidently wielded just moments ago unraveling before him. I didn't know, he managed, his voice stripped of its earlier bravado. That much is clear, Danielle replied, her tone sharp and unwavering. But let's be absolutely clear. Your approach was aggressive, unprofessional, and completely unwarranted. She took a slow step closer, her eyes locked onto his. Tell me, officer, why did you assume I didn't belong here? Davis swallowed hard. I was just doing my job, he muttered weakly, unable to meet her gaze. Your job, Danielle repeated, her voice edged with controlled intensity. Your job is to serve and protect, not to harass and intimidate. Maybe you should reflect on why you felt the need to single me out today. Before Davis could muster a response, another vehicle pulled into the lot. A sleek black sedan, tinted windows, and a visible FBI insignia on the side. The door opened, and a suited man stepped out, his expression serious as he approached. Agent Harper, he greeted with a respectful nod. Everything all right here? Danielle exhaled, her stance unwavering. It is now, she affirmed. But I need this incident documented. Officer Davis here decided to confront me without cause. She narrowed her eyes at Davis. And I have a strong suspicion this isn't the first time he's overstepped his authority. The other agent turned toward Davis, his gaze stern and unwavering. Officer, your actions today were completely inappropriate. Misusing your authority, especially against a federal agent, is unacceptable. There will be consequences. Davis's hands clenched at his sides. The weight of his actions pressed down on him like a boulder. The murmuring crowd, the rolling cameras, the looming threat of an investigation, it all crashed over him at once. He opened his mouth to respond, but no words came. What could he possibly say? Danielle took one final step forward, lowering her voice, but making sure every syllable cut deep. You let your bias dictate your actions today, officer. And it's going to cost you. She let the words settle, her next statement a final warning. Next time, it won't just be your badge at stake. It'll be your freedom. With that, she turned on her heel and strode away, her colleague following close behind. The crowd instinctively parted, some offering quiet applause, others murmuring in admiration. Davis remained rooted in place, his career, his reputation, his entire world, crumbling around him. He had spent years throwing his weight around, but today, that weight had crushed him instead. By the end of the day, the video had gone viral. Outrage swept through social media, igniting demands for accountability. Under mounting pressure, the police department was forced to act swiftly. Officer Davis was placed on indefinite suspension, pending a full investigation. As for Danielle, she returned to her work without hesitation. For her, this was just another day in a career filled with challenges. But for everyone who watched that video, she became something more, a symbol of strength, resilience, and justice. A reminder that respect and integrity should never be compromised, no matter who you are or what title you hold. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Together, we can continue sharing powerful lessons that remind us all of the importance of humility, respect, and human connection.